Conference realignment may be coming to Colorado, and it's big news for Coach Prime and the Buffs. A report is out that Colorado will be meeting with the Big 12 here soon. We're going to talk about what may happen there and what it means for Colorado going forward. We have Couz from Couz's Corner on, so let's jump right into it. Man, I appreciate you joining me today. Thanks for being part of the show. Can you give us a little bit of an update, maybe a 30,000-foot view of conference realignment with regards to the Pac-12, the negotiations, the power struggles, everything going on out there?
Yeah, basically, the Pac-12. Most people already know, but the ones who don't, the Pac-12 has taken forever to do a media deal done. They had an exclusive negotiating window with ESPN and Fox late last year that they chose to. They didn't accept the deal that Fox and ESPN gave them, so they decided to go to market. Well, in the meantime, the Big 12 jumps in line of the Pac-12. They get their deal extended that they're currently in. They take up that inventory that would have been the Pac-12's potentially. Now all of a sudden we're in the midst of an economic, I don't want to say catastrophe, but economic downturn in the media industry. And now the Pac-12 appears to be struggling to get a deal done. I mean, they're like 11 months away from their deal expiring, potentially, which in this industry is unheard of. Usually those deals are done by now. So now you're starting to hear rumors of schools leaving the conference. There's rumors about Oregon and Washington going to the Big Ten. You're hearing rumors about Utah, Colorado, Arizona State going to the Big 12. All kinds of rumors going around, and that's kind of where we are today. And you've got Big 12 fans, Pac-12 fans, kind of going at each other on social media, and it's kind of become a for lack of a better term, a pissing contest between the two fan bases. And but it's very entertaining and very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, conference realignment seems to be the thing that just captivates all college football audiences and really kind of is the hot topic. Maybe that and Coach Prime in Colorado are maybe your top two. So right. We're combining forces here. So I'll maybe make this a two-parter. How does Colorado fit into all this? And then these meetings that are taking place here soon between Colorado and the Big 12, I assume that those are allowed to happen. That doesn't sound like there's any kind of breach of contract or anything like that for that to happen. So maybe explain to us how Colorado fits in. Talk to us a little bit about those meetings and kind of what you expect both sides to try and accomplish there.
Yeah, basically, obviously Colorado is part of the what they call the Four Corner schools with Arizona State, and Utah that has been rumored. I don't even want to say rumored. It's been reported by multiple media outlets that they have at least talked to the Big 12. Now, there are some in Pac-12 country that refuse to acknowledge that and think it's all made up. But, it's been reported by The Athletic, by CBS Sports, by 24/7 Sports, ESPN, Action Network. Pretty much every national outlet out there has said they've at least had discussions. Yeah. Well, now we're hearing that with Colorado specifically, it's going potentially further than just general discussions, and they're actually getting into potentially some deeper conversations about, hey, how could we make this happen? Heard reports over the week, or not over the weekend, but this past weekend actually it came out. Jason Shear with 24/7 Sports posted on a message board, an Arizona message board, that Colorado would be meeting with the Big 12 next week, basically. And I'm paraphrasing, but within the next week.
Yeah.
Then Brian Etheridge at 365 Sports took it further and said they're meeting on May 6th. Now, I don't know how confident they are in that date of May 6th, because Jason Shear didn't give that date. He just said, they're meeting basically next weekend. So I think sometime there's going to be a meeting, more than likely, but sometime between now and Monday, between Colorado and the Big 12. And from what I'm hearing from some of my sources, it's more than just general discussions.
Is the Big Ten, with them only being, you and I have talked a lot about the ACC grant of rights and how locked in Florida State, for example, is to that contract, really all the ACC teams. We talked about it from FSU's perspective. Does anything like that exist for Colorado, or, how difficult would it be for Colorado and maybe the Four Corner schools to get out of the Pac-12, or is it up in 11 months anyway? Could they just go then?
Yeah, my understanding is that this grant of rights is, the grant of rights are kind of, they're not the media deal, but they're tied into it. they give the conference their. I mean, you know what granted rights is. They give the conference their media rights, basically sign them over through the length of the TV deal,
Sure.
and the Pac-12's is about to expire. Like I said, within the next 11 months. So even if they decide to leave the conference, they likely wouldn't be actually leaving until after the media deal is up.
Right. Yeah.
So they wouldn't have to worry about the granted rights at that point, right? It would be over.
So, just your opinion. I know you followed this, and I want to get your take. I know you're connected and you've talked with some people. Does the Pac-12 pull it together? Do they get it figured out? Which way do you lean, or do you think this might be the end for them?
Right now, I used to say 70-30, the Pac will figure it out. Now I'm more like 50-50. Now, if they only lose one school, if say, let's just theoretically say Colorado ends up bolting for the Big 12, I think the Pac-12 would be able to backfill and add a San Diego State or a Colorado State or an SMU, somebody to fill that slot. You know, let's be honest. No disrespect to Colorado fans, Colorado's not been great the last few years. Now with Prime coming in, there's a lot of hype around them again, and they seem to be on the way up. But I don't think losing just Colorado is going to kill the Pac-12. Now, if they lose Colorado and Arizona, or if they lose Colorado and Arizona State or something else, and they get down to 8 teams, you know, then it's going to be a lot harder to salvage that thing, in my opinion. But if I had to put odds on it right now, I'd say it's probably 50-50 that the Pac-12 survives.
So we've talked a lot about the Big 12 and how they relate in all of this conference realignment, and no shot at the Big 12, but I think you'd probably have a pecking order of the SEC and Big 10 being the big dogs right now that everybody's trying to get to. And then you've kind of got the Big 12, which seems the next most stable, I'll say, Pac-12, ACC, and then your group of five stuff is probably, you know, not even really considered under them. But with the Big 12, how aggressive do you think they are in what they're trying to get accomplished? How much are they in wait and see mode based on what the ACC does, based on what the Pac-12? Like, would the Big 12 just add 8-10 teams if they became available and just try to be the biggest if they can't, have the prestige of what the AC or the SEC and Big 10 has, or how aggressive do you think the Big 12 is overall?
I think they're being very aggressive because Brett Yormark has been open. New commissioner Brett Yormark has been open about being aggressive to a degree. He's come in and said, "Hey, we're open for business. We want to get into the Pacific time zone." He's been upfront, honest about that from the get go. And but do I think they're going to go out and add 8-10 teams? I don't. I think they're still going to have to be selective because if you start adding too many teams, then it could dilute the conference, dilute the revenue potentially for the other teams. Because these TV networks are not going to be willing to go out and just pay extra money for 8-10 new teams. It's going to depend on who the teams are, what time zone are they getting in, what's the market look like, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I do think they're being aggressive, but I also think they're being selective at the same time.
You feel like Colorado is a pretty attractive team, at least for the current time, because of Coach Prime? Are they one of the more attractive teams right now for a short-term type deal?
I think so. I mean, Colorado, let's remember, they did win a national title in, 1990, I think it was?
Yeah.
So Colorado has historically been a really good brand, and I think they can get back to that. So, and, you're adding the Colorado market, getting that back into the conference. I think that's I think that would be a good move. If you can get that Denver market, that Boulder market, that, a market that the Big 12 once had before, you get that back. That can't do anything to me but bolster the conference, in my opinion. So I think it's a good move, honestly, to bring them in.
All right, I'm going to ask you to predict this as well. We asked you about the Pac-12 in general. Where's Colorado playing football in 2 years?
Big 12.
Yeah, you think they're out?
I do.
And could they say that something does get renegotiated? Colorado could still, once they don't have to sign it, right? Colorado could choose to leave at the end of the deal, or say hey, we don't want to be part of this anymore. Or how would that work?
Well, my understanding is, not only them, but heck, Oregon and Washington, for that matter, may not want to sign it. If it's a deal they're not happy with, if they come out with a media deal that, hey, this is 80% streaming with Apple or Amazon, and you're only getting 20% of your games on linear, I don't know that anybody's going to sign that deal.
Yeah.
To be frank with you, you might get Oregon State and Washington State. Let's be honest, they're probably going to sign whatever they got to sign. But the other 6 schools, or the other 8 schools, whatever it is, they're probably, I don't know that they signed that.
Yeah. Okay, what would it mean? We've talked a lot about revenue. Obviously, a lot of that is attached to what any kind of media deal would be or any kind of conference realignment. What would it mean for Colorado and Coach Prime if they were able to get into the Big 12 from a monetary sense? Would the deal that the Big 12 then cuts probably substantially help their program more than what they're getting out there with the Pac-12 right now?
Well, based on the only thing that's out there right now is obviously we know the Big 12 is going to be making about $31.7 million per team, starting in with the new media deal that's coming up in 2025, 26, somewhere in there. But there's a pro rata clause in there to where if they expand and add more teams, add more Power 5 teams, that is, it specifies it has to be Power 5. ESPN will kick in additional money.
Right.
But here's the thing: ESPN doesn't own 100% of the media rights. They only own about 2/3 of it.
Pac-12, yeah, other networks.
Fox owns the other third. So if Fox isn't willing to pay up, then that means the new team would only get about around $20 million a year.
Right.
Now, I don't believe Colorado is going to come to the Big 12 for $20 million a year.
Right.
I mean, they're making more than that now. So unless the new Pac deal that they've, look, I know the Pac schools say they haven't seen a deal, and I don't think they have seen an official deal, but I do think they know generally where it's going already, right? And unless the deal they've seen is like $19 million, $15 million or something, low ball number like that, then maybe yes. But I don't think it's going to be that low. So my theory is, and this is all a theory, I don't have any inside sources on this here, but I think that the Big 12 may have went back to Fox and said, hey, will you guys pony up some more money if we go out and grab a Colorado,
right,
or an Arizona, whatever, and they may be willing to come back to the table and renegotiate that deal. That's kind of what, or they go out and find a third party, a streaming service or something that's willing to step up and add some games in as well and throw more money into the pot. That's the only other way to do it. If Fox refuses to give any more money, the Big 12 does have the option to go out and find a third party.
Yeah.
Do it.
Anything else folks should know just about conference realignment with regard to the Big 12, Pac-12, Colorado? Anything else that we've missed tonight?
No, I mean, I think right now we just need to focus on, these reported meetings this weekend. Does Colorado back out of these meetings? Do they go through with the meetings? I think if anything happens, there could potentially be news breaking or something happening sometime next week. Now, what that news is, I don't know, but I think right now all eyes should be on Colorado in this meeting that they're allegedly having with the Big 12, and then after that, it could all come crumbling down, or who knows? Maybe nothing comes out of this meeting, and the Pac-12 goes out and lands a deal, and everybody sings Kumbaya again.
Yeah,
we'll
business as usual at that point.
Right.
Well, man, I appreciate you a ton for coming on. Tell people where they can find your work, where they can follow you, where they can watch you. I know you've got a YouTube channel that's killing right now with Big 12 content. I know you do some Coach Prime content as well. Where can people find your work?
Yeah, I'm over on Couz's Corner, COUZ''S Corner on YouTube. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Couz206 if you want to interact with me there. But on YouTube, I do, like you said, I do Big 12. Obviously, you can tell by my background, I'm a big West Virginia fan. Do a lot of West Virginia content. And obviously, I do a lot on conference realignment. And I do some content on Coach Prime or Colorado here and there. And any major national stories that I feel like I need to cover, I will cover. I also have a website, Couz'sCorner.com. If you want to come check that out as well.
Awesome.
And you can find me on podcast platforms too: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google Podcast, all those as well. All
the social media apps as well. You can follow them on Twitter. Check them out there. Couz, we appreciate it a ton. Thank you for hanging out. I'm excited to see if hopefully something. I want something to happen in these meetings. I don't want these meetings to just come and go and ho hum and nothing happens. So keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not
meetings.
Right. Yeah, that's all eyes need to be on Colorado. And even we've even heard from Andrew Marchand of the New York Post. He told us a few weeks ago to watch Colorado. Well, now we're watching them, and we're watching them a lot more closely this weekend.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, man, we appreciate it. You guys go check out Couz's Corner. We'll link it down in the description. You guys go subscribe, check him out. Might be our new conference that we're in here in about a year. So we'll see what happens. But Couz, man, I appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you for having me on, TJ. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate Couz from Couz's Corner for coming on and hanging out with us today. Do me a favor, go subscribe to his channel. He does a really good job, especially if we end up in the Big 12. You're going to want to be updated on what's going on in that conference. He does a great job over there on Couz's Corner. Make sure that you're subscribed here as well. We're going to keep you updated on what happens in those meetings. We're going to keep you updated on all things Colorado football. Appreciate you guys for all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, a prime time for college football.